There are two kinds of dealerships in America. The first is the kind that waits for the markets to change, waits for OEM incentives, waits for better leads, waits for better people, waits for that better time to actually go fix the culture. And those dealerships are drowning in the same problems year after year after year. The second kind, they don't wait for change. They create it. And it all comes down to one simple code, a formula that separates those dealerships that drift from those that dominate. And as we've been talking about all week, the dissatisfaction times vision times first steps has to be greater than resistance. And when you get that formula down, that is the leadership code that unlocks everything. This formula doesn't just explain change, it predicts it, it diagnoses it. And if you understand it, it unlocks a level of leadership that will change your life forever. If you've ever felt your store is stuck, your team is inconsistent, and that you are carrying the entire weight of performance on your back, and you are one crisis away from burnout, then this episode is exactly for you. This is episode 200. This is the Leadership Change Code. I'm Chris Hunsaker, and this is the Dealership War Room. Leadership fire, 7 minutes, built daily, fueled intentionally, and delivered relentlessly. And you are in the war room now. So let's dive in and see what you can learn about the ultimate leader change code. Let me take you back to a moment that changed my life. I was standing in the middle of the Arizona desert, broke, uncertain, scared, and with 5 kids and a wife at home. It was everything. I'd lost a second job in 9 months period of time. We had no money. I had no safety net. I had no vision. I had no future. I had no sense of what I was going to do. And I was standing there talking to myself, and I thought, something has got to change. And that's the moment that it broke for me. I realized that if I didn't change who I was, the circumstances I was in were never going to change. And that was the turning point for me. That was the birth of my entire career that I've spent the last 30 years doing. And it came from that one moment. And that's when it happened, that moment in the desert. Because all of a sudden, dissatisfaction lit the fire. Vision gave me hope. And first steps gave me traction. But resistance gave me fuel. And that's when it hit me. Change doesn't start in the dealership. It starts in the leader. That's where it all begins. And so I need you, and I'm going to invite you to apply this to you as a leader first. The formula starts with you. Let's dive in. So now let's apply the formula to your leadership, starting with you. And it begins with D, with dissatisfaction. And I invite you to become dissatisfied with being overreactive, being overwhelmed, being emotionally inconsistent, with tolerating mediocrity, with tolerating chaos, with living inside of burnout and drowning in busyness instead of building momentum. Because you cannot change things externally while you're trying to be comfortable internally. So begin today to create dissatisfaction with those parts of your leadership that do not represent your highest and best self. Now, let's apply vision. Not goals, not numbers, vision. That emotionally vivid picture of who you could become as a leader, of who you are when you're at your best, calm under pressure, and clear in conflict, disciplined, consistent, respected, influential, and dangerous in the best possible way. And when you can begin to see yourself this way, then your team can start seeing you that way too. Now, let's add first steps to the formula. You don't need to change the whole store. 1 degree of change, 1 ritual, 1 habit, 1 standard, 1 discussion, 1 expectation, just 1 act of courage or 1 act of clarity. And that's what's going to help you change it. You don't need to change the whole store. You don't need to do everything. You just need to take that first step. And look, is there a conversation that you've been putting off? Something you've been avoiding? What's 1 degree, 1 step, 1 thing that you can take? You don't need to win the race. You just need a starting line. Now let's look at resistance, your own resistance, because resistance is not the enemy. Resistance is the ultimate reverse indicator that you are on exactly the right path. Resistance is the friction that turns leaders into weapons. Because when you take stress and add it to identity, what you get is strength. The strength to execute, the strength of character, and the strength to melt resistance and create change. This is why I keep telling you every week, you are the thermostat. You set the emotional temperature of your team, because change never starts with your team. Change always starts with you. And then it cascades through everything that you touch. And that is the change leader's code. It is the ultimate cheat code for execution in your home life, in your business life, and as we're talking about today, in your own leadership execution. So now let's cross the execution bridge, turn insight into action. Today's invitation, this milestone challenge, is simple, but it is life-changing. Choose the leader that you need to step into to become the person who can drive the change that your store needs. This is a pivotal moment. It is never going to get easier. Next year, the year after, it is going to get harder. It's going to be more complicated. It's going to be more difficult. Change is going to come faster. There's going to be more crazy things going on. Now is the time to decide, who do you need to become to be prepared to handle and lead your team into the most uncertain, chaotic, and difficult future that's ever existed. And then say it to yourself, I am the thermostat. I am the culture. I am the leader. I am the one who creates clarity for my team. I am the one that resistance bows to, that I am that leader. And you want to start getting very clear. This is how you use it. This is the vision that I talked to you about creating. Say it out loud, step into this and be that person. Now, with a pen and a paper and some time, as you write that stuff down, I want you to name that identity, define that identity, and then step into it and live it for 24 straight hours. Try it on. Make it, see how well that suit fits. Feel how good that feels. And that is the beginning of your transformation. And when you transform yourself, now you have an unbelievable power to transform your team. And you can build what I call an unstoppable culture. Because you're in the war room, you're becoming something strong, something sharp, something powerful. And that's the essence of being in the war room. How do you continue to become the absolute best version of yourself? Because iron sharpens iron, and this is where tools are forged. If this week opened up something inside of you around agency, clarity, and identity, then it's time to stop trying to do this alone. Scan the QR code that's on the screen, and I will send you a personal invitation to join the Velocity Mastermind, where elite leaders continue this process of becoming the best possible versions of themselves. And never underestimate proximity, power, skills, tools, framework, accountability, and the chance to constantly, daily, weekly become the best possible version of yourself. So if you're ready to level up, if you're ready to grow, then please scan that QR code and I'll send you a personal invitation to join the Velocity Mastermind. This is the community where elite dealership leaders come to master execution, build cultures that execute consistently, and leaders become the kind of people that their teams and their families need to navigate what will be one of the most difficult times in the history of our world. Velocity is where identity becomes discipline, where clarity turns into culture, and where pressure turns into purpose, and maybe most importantly, that resistance becomes fuel. So if you're ready to rise, if you want to accelerate into the leader you were born to become, then scan the QR code and join us now. You're in the war room now, and this is just the beginning. Episode 200. This is where it all starts. And please, I invite you, join me in the Velocity Mastermind. But for today, go out, create some leadership fire, and I will see you Monday in the Dealership War Room.